Hey friends of the fort, we're here with another review, and today it's all about Figment 2. Figment 2 is an action-adventure game set in the human mind, where you face bosses in musical showdowns, make your way through puzzles, and explore unique environments. Now, let me say that the first few minutes of Figment 2 are probably the most odd in the entire game's experience. You're greeted by some overly enthusiastic voice acting, quirky characters, and a silly animation style. It's cute and feels very childish, but also slightly cringy. This, though, is probably the only negative thing I'm going to say about the game, as Figment 2 is a mental masterpiece in a couple different ways. The game on the surface may appear childlike and innocent, but let me state that it also has a lot of darker undertones that are fit for the adult crowd. You'll play as Courage, one of the mind's warriors against nightmares, which are heavily prevalent in the first game, accompanied by his feathered friend Piper, who is overly optimistic. Together, they create a fun dynamic of open-minded and closed-minded, and it's a tone that follows you through the entire experience of the game. This tone, mind you, is a powerful one that Figment 2 cleverly explores. What do I mean? Well, they ever so subtly throw in voice lines that get your brain thinking, that's a good point, and it transfers into the game's puzzles brilliantly. The puzzles you'll face in this game change and operate differently depending on whether you're in an open-minded or closed-minded state. No, really, that's the mechanic of the game. It's also a brilliant one. It has you consider the game's puzzles in a multi-dimensional form, testing your memory and critical thinking in fun ways. From simple platform puzzles to an entire whodidit puzzle where you have to solve a mystery among the opinions, or the cute little creatures you'll find wandering around the world. Figment 2 definitely keeps you engaged from start to finish. There's one thing that Figment 2 does to your mind that I have to compliment, and it's the fact that it follows a story that hits home for a lot of people. I don't want to give up any spoilers about it, as it's definitely an experience you'll want to leave unspoiled should you choose to play. But periodically, usually after finishing a level, you get a cutscene that depicts a family in real life, and you quickly realize that you're in the mind of the husband in the story. With each puzzle you solve and part of the mind you open up, help, or save, you watch the cutscenes and story in your real life evolve. I'm a huge fan of any game that can take a hard-to-swallow pill that relates to our everyday lives and deliver it to us in ways that make you genuinely want to think about your actions. Not only in the game, but in real life. Games that provoke thoughts on morality and life in general are my all-time favorite, as I tend to enjoy deep conversations about how our brains operate. Another great aspect of the game is the combat. It's the run away and dodge things expertly while waiting for the opening to attack style, and it's fun. The last fight in particular was so hectic that it made me laugh. Thankfully, Ducky is great with games like this, and he had no issue at all, but I definitely would have taken a few more missiles to the face than he did. There's minor combat all around the levels as well. Usually you'll find yourself trapped in a portion of the map and unable to leave until you defeat all the enemies. These range from tiny flying bots that shoot missiles, to whirling tops who charge you, and even big Baymaxes who attempt to whack you with your grandmother's antiques. It's fun and fairly easy for the most part, but definitely hectic at times. The last thing I want to talk about is the quirky and charming characters. These range from the random little opinions who put out great one-liners, to the bosses who have spent too long in a musical theater class and have gone completely insane. Figment 2 does a fantastic job at giving meaning to their characters as well, even the little ones. What you might think is just another random opinion could have something deep to say that will leave you questioning their words even into the next chapter. Especially towards the end of the game, you'll start to notice the trend that it's following and catch on to the deeper lessons it's attempting to teach its players. It's why I use words as bold as mental masterpiece, because what the game achieves in the 3 to 4 hours of gameplay is actually incredible. They do it in such a subtle and unique way, too, that it's addicting and fun. It definitely kept us charging forward to the end to see how it ended. I do want to say, while Figment 2 has a childish face on the surface, and is rated for children 10 and up, it does come with some deep life lessons that hit you in the face towards the end. I don't think I'd play this game in front of our kids until they were of the age recommendation, since it does use some mild language, but I could absolutely see parents sitting down with their preteen kids and enjoying this game. One last thing I want to mention, while the game states it's local co-op, it's not really a co-op game at all. The second person can fly the little parrot Piper around and peck trees or enemies, and there were a few puzzles towards the end that I could tap on, but you can't interact with any objects, and nearly half the enemies in the game you can't attack at all. It was a fun experience to get to enjoy the game with Ducky and talk about the messages the game was attempting to teach, but you're a glorified cheerleader, which is why I assume it's aimed at parents playing with a kid. All in all, we definitely recommend Figment 2. It's not a long game, but definitely one to be enjoyed if you're into the mind-bending, question-your-life type games. The levels are also replayable, so it makes going back to different parts to collect the memory fragments easy to do if you didn't find them all during your first run. We did particularly enjoy finding the collectibles as they unlocked memories that added a lot of context to the story, so we recommend finding them for the best experience. That's going to be it for this review, but thank you as always for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Till next time.